At the NATO summit in Lithuania, President Biden promised long-term commitment to support Ukraine, suggesting that the country will eventually become part of the alliance. But how is the idea received here in the U.S.? Joining us now to discuss Biden's trip to Europe, we have Simone Ledeen, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. All right, joining me now is Simone Ledeen, the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. Thank you, Simone, for your time today.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
Of course. So we're going to start with NATO. Of course, President Biden is just coming on off the heels of that trip. I want to talk about Ukraine's future. So President Biden said that Ukraine's future is certain to join NATO and gave a security guarantee for Ukraine. Now, he's also said at the same time that America is actually running low on ammo. So just from your perspective, how do you square these two things? Many say, of course, it's necessary to defend democracy, to be involved with Ukraine's war, but also there are others who are saying too much involvement is not good. Politics aside, what do you think, Simone, about the geopolitical implications and the national security implications of the U.S.'s support for Ukraine right now?
Well, I think that unlike a lot of smart people in DC, I think that Pandora's box has been opened already. I think we are involved in the war, and I think people who don't understand that are kind of missing the bigger picture. We are involved on many levels, and I don't see that stopping, unfortunately. Also because I don't think this was preordained. I don't think this war was necessary, but now we're in it. And yes, we don't have boots on the ground today, and certainly everyone wants to avoid a big, land war in Europe. But I tend to think that it is coming anyway, and we should be doing everything we can to help. You mentioned the 155 ammo, basically the fact that not only in the U.S. We have a shortage of 155 millimeter ammunition, but actually that is a global shortage. As a result of this war, it's a big shooting war. And it is the reason why the Biden administration in the end decided to send cluster bombs, because they simply don't have any more 155 to provide. And that also affects our stocks here at home, which is concerning.
And about Ukraine's ascension to NATO, if that does happen, of course, Biden says it's going to happen in the near future or in the future. He says that's certain. Just curious about your perspective on what do you think that will do to the international order if they do join?
Well, I think this entire trip, including that announcement, was just like the Biden administration comedy of errors, which really started with the stopover in England, the visit with King Charles, where Biden was visibly, he had his hand on King Charles' back. It didn't seem to me like a friendly gesture. It seemed like he needed physical assistance, which was very concerning and not really a sign of strength from our president or from our country. And then fast forward to the actual, the actual NATO meeting, the spectacle of Zelensky making these incredibly incendiary statements against the United States after we've been providing all of this assistance. It was clear to me, as someone who has served in an administration previously, that they didn't coordinate anything ahead of time. Normally, in these sorts of very big and public meetings, there's a lot of work leading up to them where staffs and even the principals will coordinate statements beforehand. So none of this should have been a surprise. Zelensky was tweeting up until the meeting that he expected Ukraine to be admitted into NATO. That was a huge mistake on our part, that he was under that impression. Yes, they weren't admitted. There was a security guarantee. I will remind your viewers that there was a security guarantee back in the 1990s when we convinced them to give up their nuclear weapons. We provided them then, along with several other countries, with a security guarantee. If they have the memory, which I'm sure they do, they appreciate a security guarantee, but I wouldn't take that to the bank, unfortunately, given past behaviors.
Interesting. Yeah, I really appreciate that insight you just provided. Very unique. All right, awesome. So we'll leave it here. Simone, thank you so much for your time today. Simone Ledeen, the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. We really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.